Hello, Melissa May Dillon here, live on my personal page, and then we upload it to my YouTube channel at Melissa May Dillon. Whether you are on Facebook or on YouTube, drop a comment if you have a question. If you're on the YouTube, please make sure you hit subscribe. What I want to talk about tonight is something that I've been talking about with David, and it's some lessons that I have learned. I mean, I know that this is, I've learned this a long time ago, but like sometimes you need to hear things many different ways from many different sources for it to like really lock in, and then you still have to like practice it. Because like anytime that we're moving against the traditional thing, which is like everyone's got to work hard, life generally sucks, we work all week, then you have the weekend, but you're barely making enough money for you to even enjoy the weekend, and like this is just how life is. And then we all have health problems and we have health issues, and this is just how life is, survive, retire, die. And whenever we're moving in opposition of that system, or like money is hard, when we begin to learn that we are the conscious creators of our realities, but it's a process of like undoing all of those belief systems. Because like for the first 18 years, unless you had extremely conscious parents, with most of us have not had, otherwise we'd be living in a different world right now. But if we had extremely conscious parents, we would have been taught more of this stuff. But we are the conscious creators of our reality, and we have at minimum of 18 years of undoing, and then even more when you think about the generational trauma that exists. But we're just simply not taught that we are the conscious creators of our reality. And when you learn it, and I've learned this a long time ago, but again, it takes a while to like undo the years and the years and years of conditioning and belief systems that life is hard, life sucks, money's hard. You just have to get a good job and just survive and deal with health issues and etc. But anyway, when you take conscious control of your reality, you have to understand that like everything is possible. And this is where we get into trouble because anything is possible. And I've been learning this in the Quantum Prosperity from Melanie Ann Layer. So Melanie Ann Layer is one of the biggest teachers of my life. She was homeless in her car in 2016, figured out how to fall in love with her life, started teaching other people how to fall in love with their lives, has since built a $100 million coaching brand, helping people fall in love with their life, building businesses, doing amazing things. And she had this program called Quantum Prosperity, and she had one of the best like explanations I've ever seen about how anything is possible. So if you don't know what the quantum is the field of all possibility. Every single thing is possible. So oftentimes when we talk about that, we think about how, like, especially when you're trying to think about manifestation and you're trying to think about having a better life and you're thinking about, being positive and stuff like that. When we think about the quantum, we try to stress that like all the amazing things are possible. But our minds are programmed and conditioned to focus on the fear. And what's interesting is that those realities are possible. So like when you're afraid that something's going to happen, that's possible, right? Like everything is possible. So the thing is like in the quantum, the field of all possibility, every single possibility exists in the quantum field. And it's so funny to me. I don't know if you guys ever watched Men in Black, but the scene where Will Smith is being tested by the MIB plate, like he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's him and a bunch of like military guys, and they're putting him through the process of like trying to see who they're going to hire next. And they asked them to like shoot they put him in this situation where they had to show their skills shooting the bad people or shooting the bad situations or whatever. And like all of these aliens would pop up in this scene, and all the military guys would shoot the aliens. And then the very last thing to pop up was like this young girl carrying a book. And Will Smith didn't shoot any of the aliens, but he shot that little girl. And they said, "Why did you shoot the little girl that popped up?" And he's like, "She's a little girl walking around with the quantum physics books in this dark alley. She's like, these other guys were just, blowing a nose or doing a workout or whatever. She's the one who looks suspicious." And she was carrying a book that said quantum physics on it. And I didn't learn about quantum until I was like way older. It's like not really something we talk about. And if I ever did learn it, it's not what I've learned now. But the quantum is the field of all possibilities. Everything that can exist exists in the quantum. And as a conscious creator, we literally are working with the quantum. So like when we say, you tell the universe what it is that you want to manifest what it is that you want, you're basically going to the quantum and you're saying, I want this. And then every time you're like, when we say you vibrate or you're putting out energy or, you have a thought, you keep thinking this thought over and over again. Every time that you're having a thought or there's something that you want in your life or something that you don't want, something that you keep thinking over and over again, something that you keep saying, you're sending an order to the quantum. And in the quantum, all things are possible. And it's not, like it'll give you whatever it is that you're putting an order in for. But most of us are putting orders in for the things that we don't want. So when you have fear, when you have worry, when you have doubt, you're putting in an order for the thing that you don't want. So it's very similar to like going to a restaurant and being like, do you guys have pizza? They're like, no, this is a hamburger. Or I'm sorry, bad example. You go into a restaurant and you're like, do you have pizza? And they say, yes, we have pizza. And you say, okay, but I don't want pizza. And they're like, okay, well, what do you want? Well, I definitely don't want pizza. Okay, but what do you want? Not pizza. Okay, but what do you want? Definitely not pizza. That's what we're doing with the quantum universe whenever we're thinking about our worries and our fears and our doubts. We're putting in an order to the universe saying that we don't want it, but we're spending more time saying what we don't want than what we do want. And one of the things that really helped me was the way Melanie talked about it. She said, everything exists in the quantum and its opposition in full supply. So yes, it is possible that your fear, your doubt, your worry can happen. That's absolutely possible. But what is also possible is that the exact opposite is available. And so instead of going into the restaurant saying, I don't want pizza, I don't want pizza, you need to go into the restaurant saying what you do want. I want a burger. I want a juicy, awesome, amazing burger. So when you're going about living your life and you're the conscious creator of your reality and you take conscious control of your reality and you understand that the quantum is available to give you anything that it is that you want, you need to start saying what it is that you want, not what you don't want. So if you're spending more time saying, I'm afraid that this could happen, or I worry that this could happen. And oh my God, Jim Carrey said it so amazing too. He said most of us are troubled by trying to fix the future. Like we're worried about future fears, and we spend most of our time like doing jump wheels and cartwheels trying to fix the future because we're projecting our fear into the future instead of just living life as is and making assumptions that things would be amazing and wonderful instead of things being worried, fear, and doubt. Now, the place where this comes from, like, why do we, if everything is available in the quantum in full supply, why do we keep telling the quantum what we don't want, right? So every time I worry, fear, and doubt, I'm going into the restaurant saying, I don't want pizza. Okay, you keep saying pizza, but I don't want it. Okay, but you keep saying pizza, but I don't want pizza. Pizza, 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 pizza. Like when you think about your, like a situation, like let's say, it's a random bill, like you're thinking about your money. You're like, I don't want to have to spend my money. I don't want to have big expenses and I'm not expecting. And it's like if you keep thinking about, I don't want to have to spend money. I don't want to have these emergencies. I don't want to have to do it. These things will pop up because you're literally calling it into reality. So the quantum is a field where everything is possible. And so when you're sending out a worry or a fear saying, I don't want pizza, I don't want pizza, I don't want pizza, like related to something like food, like literally, like this helped me so much because the way that Melanie talked about it was like the universe is like a big old Costco, and you walk in and you're like, do you guys have TVs? Yes, we have everything, but I don't want a TV. But you ask about TVs. Yeah, but I don't want a TV. Like, don't give me a TV. Okay, then don't take a TV. But I don't really want TVs. Like, that's what we're doing every time we worry, is we're saying what we don't want, what we don't want, what we don't want, what we don't want. But how can the quantum or the universe or God or whatever give us what we want until we say what it is that we want? And here's where I found a lot of freedom too, is I don't always know what it is that I want. I don't know what's available to me to even want. Like there was a class that Melanie talked about how like there's certain hotels that have like private entrances and they could be like $30,000 a night, and it has all this crazy stuff. Like I wouldn't even know that that's possible. It's not in my frame of experiences that I've had in this life. Like there are things that we don't know that are possible or available to us because we don't know. So like one of the things that helped me was releasing the need to be very specific about what it is that I want. And I think that that can help a lot of people too. So instead of thinking I want this exact thing, I think about how I want more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment in my life, more awesome experiences. So I get a little bit non-specific about it if it's like I don't know exactly, like, and a lot of people have that because I know there's like 20 things I could name that I want right now that I don't currently have. 100 things, a million things. I want a lot of things. But if we spend our time thinking about all the things we don't want, we're not putting in an order to the universe with the things that we do want. But if you struggle to think about the things that you do want, at least put in the order of, I want awesome, more joyful, more awesome experiences, more fulfilling experiences, more love in my life, more happiness in my life, more laughter in my life. I want more of that. I want more things that feel good, right? And when you think about what you don't want, you're calling that into the, like you have to take conscious control of your mind when it goes into fear, when it goes into worry, when it goes into doubt. You are literally putting the order into the universe for the thing you don't want. It's the same as going into a restaurant and they ask, what would you like to order? And you say, well, not pizza. Okay, but what do you want? Well, definitely not pizza. Okay, but what do you want? Not pizza. Okay, but what do you want? Not pizza. Like that's what we do every time we send out a worry and a fear or a doubt. We're telling the universe what we don't want, and we're not telling the universe what we do want. We're not telling the quantum what we do want. So Melanie talks about it as like tickling, like there's every potential is available in the universe. And when you're tickling a worry, fear, or doubt, like you're tickling that in the quantum, you're like calling it to you, because everything that you put out, every thought that you're feeling, every vibration that you have, all your energy that's being put out is sending orders to the quantum about what it is that you want to experience. And it will provide you with whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're asking for. And so when you go into a worry or a fear or a doubt, you're putting that order into the universe. So you have to take conscious control and say, I'm telling the universe what I don't want. That's not the goal. I need to tell the universe what I do want, and spend more time thinking about what you do want and less time thinking about what you don't want. Because whatever it is you're thinking about, you're putting in an order to the universe. Even when it's like, I don't want, this bad thing to happen. And I'm trying not to even think of examples because I don't want to put them out on the quantum. But catch yourself when you're sending out a worry, fear, or doubt. If you can translate it to, I'm ordering food at the restaurant of the universe, and I keep telling, I don't want pizza. I don't want pizza. But what do you want? I don't want pizza. But what do you want? I don't want pizza. But what do you want? I don't want pizza. But what do you want? I don't want pizza. That's literally what you're doing when you have worry and fear and doubt. So you got to switch your thought process. You got to switch what is coming out of your mind, and you got to say, like, what I do want. I do want a big fat juicy burger. I do want a wildly successful business. I do want, and I think this is where a lot of us come into trouble because we're afraid to say what we do want in case it doesn't happen, and then we feel like we're an idiot. That's got to go away. But like, why are we more comfortable with saying what we don't want? Why are we more comfortable with expressing things that we're afraid of happening than we are expressing the good things that could happen? I have been in many coaching programs and like many different people talking, and most people will bring up scenarios of things that they don't want to happen. I'm afraid to do this because this could happen. I'm afraid to do that because that could happen. I'm afraid of this because that could happen. Why are we tickling the quantum of the universe with those possibilities? Why not say, what if this could happen? And what if that could happen? And this could happen? Like, spend more time thinking about, use Use your imagination positively instead of using your imagination negatively. Like worrying is the worship of fear. When you worry, you're worshiping fear. Like, can we worship other amazing things? Like what's possible? Everything is possible. Everything is possible. My worst fear is possible, and my most amazing experience is possible. It's all possible. I just have to direct the universe towards what it is that I want. And if I can't think of a specific thing that I want, can I say that I at least want my life to have more love, more joy, more happiness? Like, I just want to call those experiences in if you can't get specific about something that you do want. But just every time that you're having a worry or a fear or a doubt, if you can in your mind start going, I'm telling the restaurant I don't want pizza. Like, will you ever get what you want if you just keep saying I don't want pizza? Would you like a burger? Well, I don't want pizza. Would you like a steak? Well, I don't want pizza. Would you like ice cream? Well, I don't want pizza. When you can frame it like that, it's shifted a lot for me in this past week. Because I'm like, every time I have a worry, fear, doubt, I'm like, oh, I'm tickling the universe. I'm telling it what I don't want. I'm tickling that possibility. I would rather tickle the possibility of goodness and awesomeness happening. And it's really helped me to switch my mindset. So I just wanted to share that little nugget with you. I love you all. Put the order into the universe of the things that you do want. The quantum is a field of all things that are possible. Look up the quantum. That's what people talk about. Quantum leaping is like where you put in an order with the universe of this most amazing reality that you'd like to have, and you like sink in with it, and you dream about it, and you're thinking about it, and you literally just jump like timelines. Like you just jump this massive leap. And I've had many quantum leaps in my life. I mean, the fact that I went from a corporate worker making $60,000 a year to now, making multiple millions. I'm almost to on the website that I'm currently using. It keeps track of all my sales, and I started it like at the very end of, I started my business in 2022, but I didn't start using this website until the end of the year. But I'm almost to 2 million just on that website of course sales, which is like super exciting and super amazing. That's a quantum leap, going from a corporate worker making $60,000 a year to now being an entrepreneur making millions. Like that was a massive leap. For some people, it could take years before they make millions of dollars. I was able to do it like this because I kept putting the order in with the universe that like I want to receive more money for what that is that I'm doing. I literally I love looking at my Facebook history because I would there was a post I made like, today I made $33 an hour working for my business. Pretty soon it's going to be $333, and then pretty soon it's going to be $3,330. I kept putting in orders with the universe of what I wanted to see happen. When you're putting out a fear, you're putting in an order for what you don't want. And you're never going to get what you do want when you keep saying what you don't want. So when you keep professing a fear, when you keep professing a worry, when you keep professing a doubt, you're putting in an order of the universe of what you don't want. You keep saying, but I don't want pizza, I don't want pizza, I don't want pizza. Every time you have a fear or worry or doubt, you're putting an order with the restaurant of the universe saying, I don't want pizza, what do you want? I don't want pizza, what do you want? I don't want pizza, what do you want? I don't want pizza. We've got to take conscious control of our thoughts, of our worries, of our fears, of our doubts, to be the conscious creator of our reality. And I'm still like calibrating to this. Like I still catch myself putting out a worry, putting out a fear, tickling that possibility of the universe. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. Switch it. What do I want? Don't talk about what I don't want. Talk about what I do want. So talk about what you do want. I love you all. Have an amazing night. 2025, the year in which I'm going live. Have a good night. Bye.